Alright, we're out with the Cloud Surfer. It's not actually the Maiden Flight. I've flown it a few times, so unfortunately we don't get to see any excitement of will it fly or not. It just flew off perfectly fine first go. At the moment it's got the takeoff flaps set. You don't actually need them at all. It actually flies totally fine with that setting or just normal. It weighs a fair bit. I haven't weighed it. It'd have to be over 2 kilograms. It could be 2.5 kilograms, I would think. But so we'll just reset our telemetry. So now we reset our telemetry to 0. So find where the wind is before it cuts off. Go to pretty well full power is best to be safe. And off it goes. Flies off very easily. I was very, well, I don't know if I call it disappointed. I was surprised how weak it is, even at full power on 3 cells. I would say, because it's a very big motor, it's the load from the 8x6 propeller, which I've changed to an APC clone 8x6. The load is nowhere near using the maximum that the motor could do. So, for example, if that same setup ran on 4 cells, it would probably run the power levels more to what the motor is made to be able to do. You would probably have a problem with the ESC, which is only a 30 amp ESC, and you probably only run in the 30 amp region, but you might cross over towards, so you'd really want a 40 or 50 amp ESC if you're running 4 cells and wanting to get the power. So what I'll do is I'll just turn back, go to full power and climb. So that's full power. You can climb at about, so that's struggling to do that angle. You can do about 30 degrees. So that's 23 amps. If I had a better battery, and I've flown on this one, so it's a little bit depleted, you'd probably hit 30 amps. So the ESC's, you know, just enough for what it will use.
11.2 volts, 409 mAh. 4.7 amps.
So what we'll do, I'm going to drop down to about 4 amps, which seems to be the minimum. 3.1 amps, probably can't hold altitude. You need about 4 amps of 11 volts, so it's what, 40, about 45 watts to be able to fly level flight at this all up weight. So just say you had all your FPV gear in, it probably weighed this sort of weight. So you'd be flying around at about 4 amps.
4 amps, 11.3 volts, 468 mAh.
It's not necessarily the most efficient. You may find flying around 7 amps gets you further in overall distance. But in time wise, flying slower and using less power, you'll fly a longer flight time. So it just depends what you're really aiming for. So that's with no flaps down, that's just flying around with clean wing at that low power level. 5 amps.
518 mAh. 4.8 amps.
If we go into low flaps, you can slow down even a bit more.
5 amps, 11.3 volts, 542 mAh.
If you fly around very slow, you don't really want to do tight turns. Try and keep the wings more level.
6.2 amps.
What I'll do is I'll go a little bit higher. The stall, I've done stall testing. If you really try hard, you can make a tip stall. It only very, very weak tip stall and regains flight ability like in a split second. So we're just cruising along, and now I'm just cutting power, maintaining the. I'm at full up elevator. I cannot even make it tip stall. Like all it's doing is mushing down. So you can make it tip stall. You just the process you have to do to make it do it is a bit of effort. You sort of have to zoom into a climb so you can get the angle of attack, and then cut the power and let it mush out, and then it's still going very slight wing drop. So basically it's very hard to make a tip stall. And even if it drops the wing, it's so slight, it's not going to bother you at all. You could virtually stall it 10 feet off the ground and still recover. So we'll come around and have it land, so that's stage 1 flaps.
4.1 amps, 11.2 volts, 709 mAh.
So the wind's coming from behind me at the moment. So we'll just turn around, go to full flaps. Full flaps needs a fair bit of down elevator to stop it ballooning up. And look how slow that lands. Flare, flared a bit much.
0.1 amps, 11.3 volts.
It's extremely slow. Didn't do a very good job of that last flare. I overdid it, and then it slowed too much for me to be able to stop it dropping. So that's the Cloud Surfer. It's a very nice, well-built plane, even though I did quite a few mods to make it even better. Even in its stock form, it's very well made. So that's about it.
Throttle active. Have you reset the timer? 0 amps, 11.3. 21.4 amps, 10.8 volts, 1,830 mAh. Flaps stage 1, 9.3 amps, 11.1 volts, 1,862 mAh. Flaps fully extended. 0 amps, 11.2 volts, 1,878 mAh. 1.9 amps, 11.2 volts, 1,880 mAh. 0 amps, 11.3 volts, 1,882 mAh. Flaps stage 1. Flaps retracted. 0 amps, 11.3 22.6 amps, 10.7 volts, 1,922 mAh. 8.2 amps, 11 volts, 1,958 mAh. Flaps stage 1. Flaps fully extended. 3.6 amps, 11.1 volts, 1,974 mAh. 2.6 amps, 11.2 volts, 1,978 mAh. 0 amps, 11.2 volts, 1,983 mAh. Flaps stage 1. Flaps retracted. 0 amps, 22.7 amps, 10.7 volts, 2,023 mAh. 7.8 amps, 11 volts, 2,051 mAh. Flaps stage 1. Flaps fully extended. 5.6 amps, 11.1 volts, 2,066 mAh. 2.5 amps, 11.2 volts, 2,071 mAh. 0 amps, 11.2 volts, 2077 mAh. Flaps retracted. 0 amps, 11.2 volts, 2077 mAh. 5 amps, 10.7 volts, 2088 mAh. 13.4 amps, 10.9 volts, 2136 mAh. Flaps stage 1, 9.2 amps, 11 volts, 2158 mAh. Flaps fully extended. 2.3 amps, 11.1 volts, 2169 mAh. 1.4 amps, 11.1 volts, 2179 mAh. Flaps retracted. Throttle cut set. 0 amps, 11.2 volts, 2180 mAh.